What if every object you looked at changed reality? Superliminal throws you into a dream world where perspective is everything and nothing is as it seems. But here's where it gets wild. Superliminal doesn't just challenge your perception, it flips reality on its axis. One moment, you're solving puzzles that feel like magic. The next, you're questioning what's real as the game toys with your senses. And there's one big twist that'll leave you thinking long after the credits roll. Beneath the illusions and clever puzzles lies something deeper, a story about overcoming doubt and shifting perspectives. But after all the mind games and surreal visuals, does Superliminal truly deliver as a puzzle masterpiece, or does it fall flat? I'm Joe, an ex-gaming industry pro, and today we're reviewing a game that'll bend your mind, challenge your logic, and maybe even teach you a thing or two about perspective. Superliminal by Pillow Castle Games is all about shifting perspectives and pushing your mind to its limits. Inspired by optical illusions, the game challenges you to navigate puzzles that change depending on how you look at them. It's like Inception and Portal had a baby, except with fewer robots, fewer horns, and more existential dread. But here's the catch. What starts as simple perception-based puzzles quickly spirals into a surreal experience where nothing is as it seems. And the further you go, the more reality unravels. If you like the feel of the backrooms, then you'll love some of what I'll show you in this video. Now, the game is a first-person puzzle adventure with a twist that's all about manipulating perspective. By changing how you look at objects, you can alter their size, scale, and even function. It's a simple mechanic at first. Pick up an object, change your viewpoint, and boom! That tiny cube in your hand is large enough to create a bridge. But the mechanic really shines as the game gradually introduces more complex puzzles and new rules that mess with how you think about space and distance. You'll solve puzzles that require you to think in ways that almost defy logic. The story is dreamlike and abstract. You're exploring a therapy program designed to help you overcome mental blocks. Guided by a soothing yet unsettling narrator, you're piecing together a journey about self-doubt, perspective, and personal growth. It's surprisingly introspective for a game that starts with chess pieces and cubes. As you're pushed further into this ever stranger dream world, you will question a lot. Has my whole life up to this point been fulfilling? What should I be striving for? Why haven't I hit that subscribe button yet?
Hey! It's too early for that, man.
But it genuinely does get eerie and weird. Right from the start, Superliminal sets the tone with its minimalist design and dreamy atmosphere. I was instantly drawn in by the clever visuals and surreal settings. The first few puzzles ease you into the mechanics, letting you get comfortable with the concept of changing object size and perspective. But just when you think you've got the hang of it, the game hits you with an extra layer of difficulty and an extra layer of fear, and that's where Superliminal shines. The puzzles feel intuitive at first, but gradually become more complex, challenging you to think outside the box. Sometimes literally, you're constantly finding new ways to apply the resizing mechanic, and then just when you're comfortable, the game will hit you with a new mechanic to get your head around. Some solutions feel intuitive, while others had me scratching my head longer than I'd like to admit. I mentioned that the game constantly hits you with new mechanics, something that keeps the game fresh. It'll have you playing with shadows, forced perspective, and illusions that test how well you understand this dreamlike world. And it's such a unique twist on the puzzle genre that each level feels like its own mini experiment in perception. One of the coolest aspects is how the game plays with horror elements, not in a typical sense, but in how it gradually builds this eerie, unsettling vibe. If you've ever played the backrooms in any format or visited the worlds in VR chat, you'll know exactly what feeling this game conveys. There's no real threat, but the empty halls, looping rooms, and subtle audio cues make it feel like you're trapped in someone else's dream. And maybe they're nightmares too. Not everything is perfect though. Some puzzles are so abstract that they border on frustrating. Some may feel it's all part of the experience, whereas some may just get frustrated and stop playing.
Yeah, they'll stop playing because all the kids these days have no attention span. They love Fortnite and TikTok. I should know. I hang around schools from time to time.
Would you care to repeat that, you son of a bitch?
There's also a short runtime, about 2 to 3 hours, which can be considered perfect for the experience, but I could see some players wishing for more content or replay value outside of the commentary and challenge mode. But what you see in those short 2 to 3 hours is impressive. The graphics in Superliminal are clean and minimalistic, which works in its favour. The dreamscapes feel like blank canvases that let you focus on the puzzles without too many distractions, and every environment feels like it's designed to keep you questioning what's real and what's not. I will say, the game does get to a point where it becomes full-blown art, so when we talk about graphics in a traditional sense, it may not apply here, but you'll come away feeling like you've attended some exhibition, which can be a bad thing for some, which I'll discuss in a bit. For now, let's talk about the sound design. The soft ambient music and the dry humour of the narrator add a nice touch, but the game's real strength is in its subtle audio cues. Small sound effects like footsteps echoing or a sudden shift in music really drive home that dreamlike, slightly unsettling vibe. Story-wise, Superliminal doesn't spoon-feed you. Instead, it lets you piece things together on your own. While it's mostly abstract, there's a bit of a lesson in there about perspective, self-doubt, and personal growth. As you navigate these surreal puzzles, you're also working through real mental barriers, and the ending is definitely up for interpretation, but it's pretty powerful. The self-help theme may feel a bit heavy-handed at times, but it suits the dreamlike introspective atmosphere. However, I mentioned earlier that the abstract can be a bad thing for some. Sometimes the concepts can be too abstract, and it leaves some people going,
"Ah yes, of course I get it. It's a metaphor for the deconstruction of Freud's psychoanalysis. Don't you get it?"
whereas you'll have people like me going, was there a deeper meaning than just what I interpreted? This is where art hangs in a fine balance. You go too abstract, and it loses its charm and just seems like it's trying to be clever. I don't quite know where Superliminal stands here. For me, it was an experience, and my spine was tingling towards the end, but I feel I didn't quite process all there was to understand in the narrative, and that is where simpler stories thrive. But like all art, it's subjective, right? So, does Superliminal deliver as a puzzle masterpiece? I'd argue that it comes close to Portal at times, which is massive praise, and I'd say it's definitely worth a try if you're considering it. It's a mind-bending experience that manages to make every moment feel fresh and engaging. If you're a fan of puzzle games that really push you to think differently, then Superliminal is a must play. Just be ready to switch off once you've finished it and go play Fortnite or something. If you enjoyed this review and want more mind-bending games, hit that like button and subscribe. As always, have a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, whenever you are, and see you next time for a game that'll mess with your mind in a different kind of way.